I heard somebody talking about the red diesel. Did you say red?
Yes, it was red.
Red and green diesel, and basically they're compatible with each other, so.
I don't think they recommend mixing them. Like a generator at Canyon takes red diesel, so the manufacturers recommend us put the red diesel in there.
Okay. Well, I only did an internet search.
We
Red
can look
diesel
into that,
versus
yeah.
regular diesel.
We had this discussion when we were on training that we did.
I didn't know there was two types.
We didn't know. I
know
didn't.
either,
Scott
and
probably
now
did.
we're very knowledgeable.
What we do is, what we do to do sometimes, well, in the end, I'll have, there's more exploration of that idea.
We're showing the winner. You voted for us.
Okay, let's move on to 11.
Well,
Resolution number 2014-854.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. This is just a recap of the facts that occurred back on July 24th regarding the slap appeal. And this was recommended by the board, and district council graciously put the facts together, and then our district clerk formatted it for us. So we have the resolution for you.
Is this the normal procedure we go through in a case like this for a resolution?
No, we've already done
I
this
think
before.
it was actually you that called for this, so this is just going above and beyond,
Yeah.
making sure we are finding support our decision, so I thought it was a good idea, and this is just hopefully memorializes the reasons for your decision.
I'd like to move approval of resolution number 2014-854, stating the facts of the July 24th slap appeal.
I reluctantly accept it.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of passing this resolution, say aye.
Aye.
This resolution passes. Thank you.
I was gonna make a substitute motion, but it's the director's pay first.
So the 12th California Special District is CSDA annual conference.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Secretary. This is a formality that any conferences or training seminars that are outside of Orange County need board approval. This year's CSDA's conference is going to be in Palm Springs from September 29th to October 2nd. In your staff report, kind of describes some of the breakout sessions that will be presented at the conference, and in your financial review is the cost for all 5 board members and 2 staff members to attend the conference.
Who are the two staff?
Me and the district.
You stated, you stated that.
Let's vote.
You used to say.
I used to say okay, we need a motion to accept.
I move acceptance.
I second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of accepting this proposal?
Aye. That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
That's when I
I think
get.
Scott is going out Sunday with our link, because we have a special meeting on Monday. I'm going to either go out Monday or early Tuesday, but I think we'll allow them book me for Monday night. Because it starts early on Tuesday.
I did the Tuesday.
Monday. I get sworn in.
Thank you. Let's go down to number 13, Design Services, Project 206.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. This is just a FYI for receiving file, but I just wanted to let you know that the staff is beginning to start on phase 1 on repairing the grade 4s before they become grade 5s. And before you, Rob Hamers has submitted a proposal for design services that I have accepted. It's roughly about 11% of the cost of our budget, which is typically the norm between 10 and 11%. Total cost is $62,230. That is in my authority to approve. So it's just FYI.
Please, I have a question. Have we completed all grade 5s?
Yes, glad to say that.
Wow.
And is it the first phase of the grade 4?
Yes.
That's what we're doing. We're working hard. You guys
Yeah.
are working hard.
Good team
Hopefully
effort.
the regional board gives us some credit for this.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
So that's just FYI.
Just the applications.
The board will be evaluating the team that negotiates.
That's the key.
Besides providing all the power, the backup that we just said that Scott's been having to handle, he's also now the king of rehabilitation. as our system is 70 years old, and grade 5s, grade 4s, new force mains, a lot of keeping our infrastructure in place as opposed to that crazy 300-year cycle LADWP is trying to float over them.
Did they say 300 years or 100 years?
Well, they said they have a 300-year life cycle replacement for their ductile iron pipe water mains, which is just crazy. So we do have a program and it's being implemented, so all credit to the district.
Okay, thank you. Let's move down to engineers' reports, project status reports.
Be happy to answer any questions.
No, it looks good.
I do want to mention though to the board that on project of 197 of this limited 3 hotspot areas, so we are now being afforded as per our goals and future plan.
What have you done for me lately?
Up to 2016, I think.
How long will it take us to do all the various floors?
We're going to see. We have to get our teeth into them. We've done some analysis to stay ahead of the city projects, and out of all the city projects we've identified so far, there's only one dig and replace, and I've already discussed that with Scott, and we're making plans for that, but hopefully it'll remain that the percentage of dig and replace goes way down even further, and everything can be done by no dig. So.
Yeah, it's, one of the goals the board assigned me is to come up with a plan for completing all the grade 4s. I think we have 1,800.
1,600 line segments with 1 or more grade 4s.
So compared to 205 and grade 5, so we've got to work ahead of us. And so we'll come back with Rob and I will come back with a plan and then estimate project goes. How long will it take to complete all those?
It might be beneficial to get deep into the first phase of grade 4 before we try to plan out how long this is all going to take. When we started with grade 5s, we thought it'd be $1 million a year, and it came way down to $250,000. So, and we did it in 3 years. So, hopefully, good news like that will show.
Let's move to 15 project, number 197-3 full length line.
This is standard procedure of finaling a project. The board accepts the improvements and makes the recommended actions 1, 2, 3.
Any discussion? Do we want to do each one of these separately as a recommendation, or maybe
I think there would be, I think they're all pretty much related. I think we go off to this one motion.
This recommendation is for all 3. Any other discussion? Any vote? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Passes 3-1. Okay, thank you. Let's go to number 16, project 200 force main replacement.
If I may, this is same as prior project. There was one late arriving potential change order, but that's just a monetary consideration that I'll be discussing with Scott tomorrow. But I don't think it would change the fact that the work is done, and it's time to file the notice of completion and start the clock on everything. So just wanted to mention that, but we had a fine contractor on this job too. So on the full-length lining, we had Sancon Engineering, who's one of the very best, and on this project we had GCI, who's one of our very top pipeline and pumping station contractors.
So you're saying, Rob, that the change order, you and the manager have agreed on the change order, and it's appropriate, and it's within his authority, and therefore the board can take these actions tonight?
What I'm saying is that Scott has not seen the request for change order. I think it's reasonable, and it's for only $2,000 or so. But I don't think it would change whether or not we final the project tonight.
But usually you wouldn't do 2 and 3 unless you had a final deal with it. Is it time sensitive?
We're going to pull this into the next one.
I would rather not wait a month.
Can you verbally describe it, and maybe have approval between you and the manager about this, so that we can take this action now?
Well, what happened was, briefly, the contractor, we asked them to do something, and they gave us a price to install valves. And they gave us a price of $9,000 or $6,000 if we provide the bypass. And our crew was so busy, all they really did was drop the bypass off. So the contractor had to do all the labor of the setup and all the labor of the tear down. So instead of the $3,000, he's asking for $2,112, and it is within the general manager's authority.
Well, are you okay with you?
Yeah, is this,
This is 200A, for Mendoza Force Main.
right, I'm just trying to, was there any change orders?
There was, yes, there was, change order number 1 was for additional valves that the field crew asked for. That was for $6,000. This proposed change order is for $2,112.14. So that would make the total $6,100 of $8,100, which is less than 10% of $82,000.
Less than 10%, I'm good.
We have a motion to give a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor of accepting the recommendations? Council Wentz, please.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to the treasurer's report.
No report this evening.
So the attorney's report.
Nothing, Mr. Chairman.
Local meeting. Attorney Sands, did you come up with his recommendation?
Yeah, basically, I attended, with, number of my staff were getting, the agenda was first to end, consisted of, basically, two items. Both of them were emergency, request to approve emergency, action of the, staff, both the general manager and the board chair. And one of them was, they are going through rehabbing all the items to figure out how to service, and then one of them needed a so the general manager and what the work to really then let that digest go down, and before on digest was, they had to do it and this wouldn't have been done yesterday on digest. The other one was, Edwards number 1, or plant number 1. One of the effluent channels was the whole Edwards was on piles. The effluent channel turned out not to be built on piles. We had gone in and done some shoring up to that system in the past. And staff had noticed some leaks around the ground. So they went in and some of the shore method in one third of the system needed some improvement, so that was an emergency. That was the bulk of it. Then there was a long closed section and Jim said, I didn't there's some issue with at least 3 of them. But I was looking at the, just a comment, I was looking at the general manager and department head. I was involved in either hiring or various groups for me. All but one, the accounting manager happened to retire on the same day I did, Jerry Steele, and his replacement came later, so I wasn't involved in hiring the accounting. Well, they were in the main structure. The head was too large and has been built on very little foundation, and that foundation had piles on it. So sort of the sewage comes into the system and goes through bar streams and then goes into an effluent channel which takes place on the thoroughfare. The effluent channel wasn't going to have it. It really sunk. It's very difficult when you dig a hole in the ground to be a certain elevation and back to it. So,
a marsh anyway, isn't it?
Might have once been, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's not fertilizer, so maybe it is.
Not our team.
But the round of B, there was no meeting
Not
place
fertilizer.
outside of C and the special district, so here's that, if you can, friend of my friend's chief.
I understand.
So they do the job to get this work.
Okay, this document is a quarterly remuneration, which, this is the remuneration salary. We earn training, register our voters, and we told us a lot of information in order to register our voters' office, polling places, and over 10,000 volunteers, with more than 4 million people, actual voters, who want to, giving us a lot of good, since they've been a total of 177 potential candidates, takers, and followers. That was the start of the project, so now it's a lot more.
Went to CSBA, five-person shake, or review.
No.
That's what it is. Next is also, yes, the RMA. Other
So we went to one of the two operations facilities, so we were out in two, because in case one is damaged by this or the we had a flood in one, so there's potential, there is potential. And so what we were given was a tour of the facilities, and a very informative meeting about the stuff that they have put together over the last 12, 15 years since we were up at Swan and started swimming. And then Kelly, the present person, has been there since 2004, so she long history. She's very familiar with the emergency operations center down in downtown in San Juan, and likely to be there. But she explained all the resources that they had, and it's really good discussion. I thought it was a really, very important meeting.
I thought we learned a lot from it.
It was excellent. What are your plans for the staff going forward with that? Do you have any plans?
Yeah, I guess I know we've had some training with the Levio team. We need to do some tabletop exercises. I think that's what we need to do.
Because remember that thing she provided, and she showed us
Mhm.
where all of the books are.
Yes.
It's just like a big suitcase you can take
Yes.
with you. If we had one here, if we could duplicate that somewhere, that lays it all out with all, but she didn't want to give up that because of the phone numbers.
Right.
You know, the personal phone numbers, so, I mean, that would happen, but what they had was really informative.
Yeah, no, it was good tour.
Okay, we also, the three of us went to, President Perryman, Arlene, and myself went to Monterey for the CS Costa conference. And I went to the ethics training. There was over 100 people at the ethics training, which I was so surprised. It was abbreviated into a 2-hour session instead of a 2-day session. The first thing I was driving.
Oh, really?
And I know we've had some discussions about that, and it said any request takes or agree to take a bribe represents that of a bribe would be unlawful influence, could be unlawfully influence a vote, decision, or opinion, can be expressed or implied, and that if that person is found guilty of that, would never be able to hold office and possible 4 years in prison. So I know.
Is there a time limit on that?
It didn't say a time limit, but I just thought I'd throw that out there. That's the first thing they talked about.
Well, you pick up the newspapers and they're all the time.
I had like 7 things I thought.
I've been offered,
That's what I brought that up. And then the amount that we can get as a source of the gift is now $440. Did you tell us that?
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's
It
$440.
goes up from time to time, and I adjust that in my selected laws memo I give you each year.
Right.
I mean, each person?
From a person.
From a source.
From a
Yeah.
source will be $440.
For the year.
For that
You
one
accumulate it,
person?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And Jen, we don't, campaign contributions are not an income or gift. So I didn't know that.
You can, the difference is, and it's an important one, is that the campaign contribution, the gift or the income can disqualify you from voting on something, and a campaign contribution will not.
Right.
Because the legislature set up a special rule for you that if you take money and disclose it, that the electorate is smart enough to figure out if they think it stinks and vote you out of office. And it only applies if you're elected to your office, not if you're appointed to an office. So if you're on Vector or the sanitation district and you do it, you can be committing a crime. But in this position, because you were elected to it, you're not committing a crime for voting on a matter in which a campaign contribution was paid.
It isn't different for me because I was a candidate, but I was sworn in. No.
You've been elected since then.
No, she has to be
No.
appointed to it.
No.
Oh,
See?
okay.
So I can
Yeah,
take
I don't know
bribes?
if
But it's the office itself, so if you took campaign money for this office to run,
turn the
then I think
quarter
you'd
off.
have the same immunity, but check with me on that.
For this election coming
Yeah,
out,
for the election.
is she okay for the election coming
I
out?
believe so, yeah, it's the position.
I
But
think
I better check that, since
Well,
you asked me
Alan was
specifically.
referring to human iron,
Yeah,
appointed to by the board to
Yeah.
Orange County Sanders.
and it's come up over there too, where somebody made a campaign contribution, and then they had like a consultant, an engineer or something, had a matter over there, and you might be able to vote over here, but when you get over there, you can't vote on that because it's qualified. I know Carolyn Kavecci had to disqualify
Oh, yeah.
Beckford
I
one time
remember,
about
yeah.
that.
It'd be interesting to make sure everything's okay.
Yeah, I'll give you a follow-up memo on that.
There was a director that accused himself
That's over $250. So
Okay.
because of a consultant gift that they
Yeah, gift will always get you in trouble if you vote against it, so. And the same rule applies to a planning commissioner. The city council member, planning commissioner running against a city council member. The council member can take the money, the campaign contribution, and vote on that person's matter. The planning commissioner cannot, because that person was appointed to that job. So even though they're running for so I better check that rule for you. Even though they're running, they couldn't vote on that.
Okay, and then, let's see.
It's a tricky rule.
Yeah. Story of my life.
Maybe you could enlarge on that one.
Yeah, 84308, the government code.
When you update the rules and regulations.
Yeah, I try and tailor that to the entity I'm writing for, so I'll try and tailor it more if I think it might help, but, yeah.
have our liaison meetings, they're a regular posted meeting, they're a standing meeting. So when we do have a standing meeting, just those two members can speak, veterans can just observe, which we did. So we did that right away.
Rules keep changing with that.
Then the last thing, which I thought is the incompatibility of office. A person may not hold two public offices simultaneously.
You know something
Yeah, I
about
know, I
that.
do, but you can't, I'm just thinking of a water district. Can a person be on the water district and get elected to the Orange County Water District?
Oh, yeah, some have, haven't they?
Yeah, we have.
Bill
We have
or
one.
somebody,
Well,
yeah.
we have Sean Wayne right now.
Yeah, I think that's one of those ones that's waiting for somebody to challenge it.
I was at their Mesa board meeting that night, because I wanted to hear the earlier explaining what he said. It was okay for him to run for both offices.
Well, running is okay. It's when you accept one office, you vacate the other. That's where the rubber hits the road.
So it probably is,
There is no.
somebody needs a challenge, it's not,
And no one challenges.
nobody has made law.
That was always our former director's issue, was that he got one, he took the other, and then as long as nobody challenged him, he could keep doing that
Yeah.
until, and then somebody challenged him, the board challenged him.
And it's unless it's overridden by a statute. So
Mhm.
it's less than, so,
That's
but
right.
I don't know, that's why I brought that up, I thought.
I know in the, just in the recent past, there had not been a rule written for that, because that position, those two positions always comes up as being one of those ones that might be incompatible.
You would think they would be, both dealing with water.
Yeah, it could be, yeah.
But that was the separate.
We know how low that test is from the
Yeah.
Patrick now.
Well, you'll come.
No.
Very low threshold.
So, but I know he's running unopposed for the water district, and he's running opposed in the water district.
Got a hunch it'll come up in the election.
That's good. Let's move on to any old business? Any new business? What about, please remind everybody that we have two meetings on the 16th. We'll have the first meeting at 9
Correct.
for approval of going out of state for Mr. Stuff, Mr. Scott. And then at 9:30, Bob, on a study session, we'll go at 9 for the first meeting and 9:30 for the second.
You're talking about two meetings on the
Same day.
16th?
Yes.
I think it's the 16th.
Yeah.
16th is September. So there's a 9:30 meeting.
And 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Is that,
Okay.
you okay?
I'm totally at your service.
Well, it won't be mine, but, is there any other oral communications with Director Thomas? Yes.
What I'd like to do in the future study session is have staff do a little more research about whether we can mix the fuel source in the particular generators. And if not, then we have only one fuel tank. So having the two fuel requirement, what are we going to do about that?
We have a plan for that, like, you suggested we could hire a company on the state line.
Yes, yeah, we need to, that's good. Yep.
And the CCTVing, the future CCTVing of the sewer, Rob, we talked about that before, and there was some logic for holding off on that, or off the top of your head, do you know what the decision points are for, I mean, other than what the standard, you know, 10 years?
It could be discussed. 10 years is a reasonable interval, and our last one was 2006 to 2009. So I think somewhere along the line, we need to also discuss our ability to CCTV, and
Our built in-house?
yeah, yes, because we need to, like, for instance, cities trying to claim a pothole is our fault. So not only did the main line have to be CCTV, but the laterals. So we had to have two different contractors do that. So we struggle with our CCTV budget because we don't have in-house capability. But for the main system, a 10-year cycle is reasonable.
Well, anyway, maybe you could, in the future study sessions, just talk about the decision point for CCTV.
Good point.
Maybe, Javier, if you could give us an update on the battery recycling program for the state.
Absolutely.
And then maybe an update on the planned workshops for the delivery of we should be discussing that with another
Was that the other meeting we talked about, we do that at 9 o'clock?
9 o'clock.
Yes.
Well, not only take up 5 minutes, and we'll wait until 9:30. Okay, any other guys?
I just wanted to say something on this, having a consistent study session. Assistant with the city manager on the study session. Annually, and having somebody, what we're gonna do, how we can handle, on the study session.
You're going to talk to us kind of same position as you. Is there any update? No, you have to wait for that meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we talked to him today, so we have some information to share.
Good, well, that would be a good topic for the study session.
So any other business? This is probably not the fastest meeting we made it.
It's good.
Very good.
Good.
Sounds good. It's adjourned meeting.
I do
How's
Can
actually.
that
you
one?
save documents and do multiple documents on that and
can.
save them?
Yeah, I have to
Wendy,
download
you
a
feeling
special app
better?
for that.
Yes,
Like a Microsoft
Wendy, get in
Office
there. How are you?
suite kind of thing.
Uh,
But I
up
can't, I
and
can
down.
open up Word, Excel,
What is it?
PowerPoint
2 days
files,
ago.
work on them. send them
Well,
out.
that plus
So
some
this is
other
just the
stuff.
notepad that,
Monday night, I had a total
oh
of
no, the notebook turned.
1 hour
Let
sleep.
me,
Tuesday night, 0 sleep. Last night, probably
Migraine?
half a night.
Migraine or coffee?
I've got